Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cryos' first webinar in the United States. Today, I'm going to be going over donor selection, how we choose our donors, and home insemination. We also will have a Q&A at the end, so if you can, type your questions in now, and I'll be able to answer those at the end of the session. Um, just to introduce myself, my name is Kaya. I've been working for Cryos for a little over a decade. And I am the manager for customer care, so I'm happy to go through this process with you. Just to start today, of course, to Cryos, it is personal. To find the right donor for you is definitely something that we strive to do. We're always here to help you and answer any questions that you have. We do have a free donor search. We are personal and professional, and we help you guide that path to parenthood that everybody is striving to be. We do deliver to more than 100 countries. We have 35 plus years of experience, and we're definitely here to stay. We have the highest number of pregnancies actually in the world between all of our locations. And of course, our vision is to help make the dream of families have children, of course. And again, a little bit about myself. My name is Kaya. And I serve as the care team manager. And I've been here about 10 years and experience, of course, supporting families through their fertility journeys as something that I strive to be and I have a passion about. I am a mother of myself of 4 children, and I bring both, of course, personal insight and professional dedication to every interaction with every one of you. Of course, it's definitely rewarding to me. That's my favorite thing about this job is to be able to help families achieve that ultimate goal of having not one, but sometimes multiple children through their journeys. And sometimes I've been able to see that through my path here. With the multiple years that I've been here, I've seen multiple children through multiple families, so it's definitely rewarding. I'm committed, of course, to providing compassionate support and clear guidance to both donors and recipients, ensuring every step of the journey is informed, respectful, and empowering. Of course, sharing my knowledge and empathy in moments that matter the most, especially to you and your journey. So we'll get right into it. Our sperm donors do have an age range that we accept. We accept donors in the age ranges of between 18 to 44 years old here in the United States. They have to be, of course, physically healthy, mentally strong. More than 50% are typically in a relationship, and almost 50% have or are obtaining a higher education or in some sort of trade. 50%, of course, typically have full-time jobs or are self-employed, and then majority of them, of course, are attending colleges. Wide range of ethnic backgrounds that we have. We are in the US, and we have locations, multiple locations inside of the US that are able to provide the different variety of ethnic backgrounds for our clients. And of course, we do strive to have high sperm quality as well. So typically with donor motivation, we do get some quotes from them, and their motivation is because they are a father. They have people who cannot have children. They want to help people, of course, that cannot have children. And being a father is typically, of course, their most important thing in their life. So they want to give that to other people as well. And then this other donor said, I'm a sperm donor because I want to make a difference for childless people. I think what made me want to be a donor was that I am also a blood of an organ donor. So that's also important to them. And you can read about some of our donors do provide messages to clients that you can read or to the donor child. And that information is found in their extended profile, which I will go over in a moment as well. So becoming a donor, this is kind of the process that our donors do go through. They would need to apply on our website. All donors must do this. It's on an in-person application. It is online. Once the donor has gone through the online screening, the test of the sperm quality is performed inside of our labs. We do go through a thorough medical and family history questionnaire with the donor. That is done, of course, with medical professionals here at Cryos. A clinical examination and screening for diseases is done as well. A psychological assessment is done. And of course, only 5 to 10% of our donor candidates are accepted because we do have such strict criteria to be donors. A lot of donors, unfortunately, don't make it, but we are, strict with our criteria for a reason. And we provide specific type of donors for you. So we do have a couple of different types of profiles that we have here at Cryos. We have a non-ID release, which is basically a donor that does not wish to release his identity once your child turns 18. So that is what non-ID release means. And then they would have a basic profile, which means they only have basic information. They don't have the full extended profile or baby pictures and that sort of thing. Then, of course, we have an ID release basic profile donor. That is, they would like to provide the information of themselves to the child once they turn 18, if the child wishes to get that information, and they can contact Cryos for that. And then we have non-ID release extended profile donors. Again, non-ID release means the same. It's just they have an extended profile, and then the ID release donor would have an extended profile as well. And kind of the breakdown here for the basic profile, it's typically our numbered donors will have the basic profile. We do provide their race and ethnicity, their eye color, hair color, weight, height, blood type, education or profession at the time of donation. And that's pretty much it, besides, of course, our testing and all of the questionnaires that they do for us. But as far as extended profile information like pictures and the stuff that you see on this side for extended profile, that is not provided with our basic profile donors. Basic profile donors also tend to be a little bit cheaper than our extended profile donors because the information provided is much less. So extended profiles, again, they provide the same information as the basic profile donors, a detailed Q&A with the donor describing interests, experiences, family background, more. It goes over their family history as well as siblings or any children that they may have, photos of the donor as a child, an emotional intelligence profile, it's considered EQ, and then a voice recording and a handwritten message, as I mentioned before, that the donor can write either to the intended parent or the possible child in the future. That is definitely something that we do have for extended profile donors. And the voice recording is actually them reading their message. And then we also do provide a staff impression. This is just the impression that the staff has, and we typically will post that as well. So this is an example of the information that we provide for a basic profile donor. You can see it's a number. Typically the numbered donors, again, are basic profiles, and we do provide the basic information here regarding the donor. The extended profile, you can see it's much bigger. We do provide the extended profile as far as the questions, the Q&As with the donors and their characteristics. It goes over multiple different questions. It's a pretty large Q&A, and you're able to view that as well. And then the donor's family tree is also there. It goes over their parents, their grandparents, and then if they have any children, and if they have any siblings as well. And then, of course, the handwritten note is also here. It is in donor's handwriting as well, which you can also see on the extended profile. This is an example of our summary of record, which is basically their testing results. It will look the same as far as in picture for everyone. However, of course, it will be different results for every donor. but you can see the donor type and the information around the donor. It can be viewed on their profile as well under the documents section. You can download that and send it to your doctor if needed, if that's a requirement. And you can see all of things that we test for the donor on this document. I always tell our clients that it's important to reserve. That's also an option here at Cryos. So you're planning your family planning for this cycle, but it's always important to remember if you are possibly interested in siblings in the future, because we can never guarantee that straws will be available for a specific type of donor in the future. So if you can and it's possible, I would recommend reserving if you really like a donor, or if you do actually achieve the goal and you do have a child by a donor, to reserve those straws just in case. You always have an option to sell them back to us and we will buy them back from you. And of course, put them back on our website if we can, or they'll go to like a sibling wait list for other siblings, but it is recommended to always reserve if you can. In this portion of the presentation, I'm just kind of go over home insemination and kind of like a step-by-step guide. Um, so of course, finding your donor is important. You're going to want to register on our website. In order to see anything about our donors, you have to register. It is free for you to do that. You can use all of the filter options. We do have multiple there. And then of course, you choose your preferred shipping method, receive the donor sperm at home, thaw the sperm according to our protocol, which we do provide to you. If you're doing it at home, we do provide a little home insemination booklet. So it is a nice little booklet that kind of goes over step by step on exactly what you need to do with that specimen. And then, of course, the insemination portion of the home insemination. When to order. This is an important step because when selecting your shipping method and keeping in mind of your location, your ovulation is going to occur. There's a lot going on. So it's always recommended that you track your ovulation at least 1 to 3 months in advance prior to purchasing, just so you know on or around the time you're going to ovulate, so you know what date to select for shipping. So I always recommend that you track and track and track using ovulation test strips. That way you know when to order. We, of course, can try to help you when to place the order. We're also flexible on if you, let's say you selected the 17th for shipping and your cycle changes, which happens, especially during this process because you're nervous or you're excited. So your cycle might fluctuate. So it's always, we're always able to move that date around if needed, as long as we can do that. And it's you give us a call to do that. So just keep in mind, Saturday delivery is available in certain areas, but you must actually select Saturday delivery at the checkout. Otherwise, if it's shipping on a Friday, it's going to arrive on Monday unless you select that Saturday delivery. Also keep in mind, if you're shipping to a clinic, most clinics are not open on Saturdays and they do not accept deliveries. So just keep that in mind and check with your clinic if you're ordering Saturday delivery. Again, like I said, ordering in advance is always good. We can actually place your order up to 6 weeks in advance. So just remember you can place your order, and if your cycle changes and you need to select a different date, we can adjust that for you. That's no problem. And then, of course, we do accommodate last minute orders as much as we possibly can, but there is a small fee for that as well. The next portion I'm going to go over is about motility. We do have a lot of information about this on our website, so it's not like it's going to disappear, but I will go over it now. MOT stands for motility. So you might see MOT10, MOT5, MOT20 on our website when purchasing. It just kind of stands for the different types of quality that we offer. There is a sperm guarantee section on our website, and that will break it down what we guarantee per million in each specimen. So I do recommend that everybody looks at that prior to purchasing. So MOT stands for motility, movement, in the number of active sperm cells per milliliter of sperm. So for example, 1 milliliter MOT20 contains a minimum of 20 million active sperm cells after thawing. Our sperm straws are actually 0.5 milliliters, so they're half a milliliter, which means that a MOT20 contains at least 10 million active sperm cells. So it's good to remember that we don't actually have full milliliter straws. We do have half a milliliter straws. So higher motility can potentially increase the chances of conception, but it's important to note that there's no guarantee of pregnancy. We can't guarantee that, unfortunately, especially with the multiple factors that are coming into play with doing home insemination, even IUI and IVFs. It can depend on multiple different things. But we do have a recommendation if you are doing home insemination and you're tracking your cycles. We do recommend that you inseminate 2 straws in 12-hour intervals. And typically MOT10s are purchased for home insemination. You can purchase what's called an ICI for home insemination, which is unwashed sperm. That's typically what's purchased. That's a straw that's made for home insemination. If your donor does not have ICI, you can purchase IUI, and that's also available on our website. You can choose either or IUI or ICI if the donor has it available. So there's multiple different costs that we have as far as donor goes. The costs do vary per donor and per type of donor, per IUI versus ICI. As I indicated before, ICI tends to be a little bit cheaper than IUI ready sperm. So we do have a wide range of different motilities as well as pricing. So if you are looking for pricing quotes, I would just recommend going on our website and choosing a donor and looking at that specific donor's pricing. Because again, it could vary based on the donor. If they have an extended profile, if they have adult photos, and multiple other different factors. Of course, shipping is pretty standard. That information in a list is also on our website, but it can range anywhere from about $280 to $420, depending on what you pick, when you order, and what tank size you choose. And then, of course, we do have what's considered a same day or late order fee. So if you place your order less than 2 business days in advance, there's an extra fee for that to rush your order to you. And we do also have a cancellation fee. It's a same day cancellation fee of $100 if we've already packed your order, which typically that happens if you're canceling on the same day. Of course, increasing your chances. We get that question a lot, but really it's about timing. Knowing your menstrual and ovulation cycle in and out is very important. That's why we recommend that you actually track your cycles 1 to 3 months prior to purchasing. You can find your perfect donor and that sort of thing prior to that while you're tracking your ovulation, but really knowing your ovulation cycle is important. You have about a 36-hour window to kind of catch your egg and to inseminate. So we do recommend knowing specifically when you want to inseminate with every cycle. It's important for you to know how to use the insemination kit. We do have a video on our website specifically showing you how to cut the straws, use the tools that are inside the home insemination kit. So I do recommend also viewing that prior to purchasing, just so you know what's inside the tank. Of course, optimal positioning is also recommended. And that information is actually in your home insemination booklet. So I would definitely read all of that prior to cutting the straws and inseminating. And of course, the correct use of the syringe. That information also is provided in the video and home insemination booklet that we do provide. And then if you're in doubt, you always can ask for help. We are available 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have a chat live feature. You can also call us, email us, but chat and call is probably the quickest way to get in hold of us. So our insemination kit, this is kind of what our tank looks like. So it's a big yellow box. You won't miss it. A home insemination kit includes different items, step-by-step instructions to guide you through the process to ensure insemination is performed, of course, according to your intended plan. A needleless syringe and adapter that's particular to our straw, so it fits on one side of the straw, and the adapter will fit on the other side of the syringe, and then an alcohol pad to make sure everything is sanitary. A shipping container storing the frozen sperm, so that is what you see here is the container and then the nitrogen tank. And then a list of the contents in the package. So we will provide you a paperwork that will provide you what's called a packing list, a freeze list, a summary of record, and then your home insemination booklet. And of course, we're always here to help you. Again, we can be contacted these multiple different ways via email, telephone, Facebook. We actually have a Facebook group, Family of Dreams. We have clients there that have purchased from Cryos that answers questions for us sometimes too, but we're actively in there as well, and we're always here to help. And now I will take some of the questions that we have here. So I'm going to stop sharing my presentation. Okay. So one of the questions is, how long does frozen sperm live in the female's reproductive tract? So it's typically up to 5 days that frozen sperm can last, but you have like a 36-hour window, and typically it's about 12 to 24 hours for the most potent sperm. Of course, there's different grades of sperm that can live a little bit longer, but those are typically dead or non-moving and not the best quality. So I would say the best quality sperm is going to last 12 to 24 hours once inseminated. The next question is, do you need to wear any protective gear when handling the liquid nitrogen tanks? It's completely up to you. We do have some clients that do wear gloves or they do wear glasses to protect their eyes. The nitrogen tanks are technically dry when we ship them. So all the liquid nitrogen is dumped out of them when we ship them. So they're just really cold. So of course, in order to keep the sperm straws frozen, we have liquid nitrogen tanks that are even below your freezer temperature. So they're cold. There's no actual liquid nitrogen in them. We wouldn't be able to ship them if there was liquid nitrogen in them. It is emptied prior to shipping. It's just liquid nitrogen charges the actual tank, and then it's dumped. The next question is on insemination timing. So when planning for ICI insemination, do you recommend inseminating a day before the peak and on the peak ovulation day, or what has shown the most successful for women if using two straws? It's a great question. We get this question a lot. So we actually recommend that you inseminate 12 hours after your first positive on your control. Um, Again, we recommend that you track your ovulation 1 to 3 months in advance. So you will know specifically when you're at your first positive. So you'll inseminate your first 12 hours after your first positive, and then 12 hours after your first insemination. That will cover the first 36 hours of your first positive, if that makes sense. Next question is, what is the difference between washed and unwashed sperm? So unwashed sperm is the raw natural semen. That is, we do add some media to it to freeze it, but it's basically the raw natural semen. The IUI ready is washed specifically for IUI procedures. We get rid of round cells, dead cells, anything in there that doesn't need to be in there for IUI purposes. We wash out of that specimen. And then the next question is a specific question on shipping. Let me just get my calendar. If I need for the 11th of November, when will I need to have a delivery? So if you're ovulating and that's your peak day, is the 11th. That's also a holiday. Okay. You could do one of two ways because that's a Tuesday. You could have your order because the tank will last 7 days from the day that we ship it out. So you do have a little bit of a leeway. We can ship it out Friday, the 7th for an arrival of the 10th, or we can ship it out the 6th, November 6th for an arrival of November 7th. And then you will have until the 12th to use it. Or if we ship it out on the 7th with an arrival of the 10th, which is Monday, and you don't want to pay Saturday delivery, then you'll have until the 13th to use it. I would recommend that route just because cycles can change and ovulation can change. So if you have a couple extra days with the tank, that's good. Or you can just upgrade to a large tank. It's an extra $50, but it gives you 12 days with the tank, especially if it's your first insemination. It's best that you have a little bit of a leeway with the tank. We do have, of course, an option to ship back your straws, of course, if your tank hasn't expired, but you can ship them back and we can store them for you and then we'll ship them back to you for next cycle. Of course, there's a cost for that, but it is an option. So you don't completely lose out on the straws. Next question is with using one straw first and then the next 12 hours later, do you leave the other straw in the tank? Yes. So when you receive your order, um, you're going to have a large carrying case, which is yellow, and inside of it is going to be the nitrogen tank. Both will be sealed. So you can open up the large yellow canister, get out your paperwork, your home insemination kit, get all of your booklets out just to kind of look over everything. And then you can, when you're ready, open up the tank. It will be sealed, so you'll need some scissors to open it and take out one straw. And then once you're done with that one straw, you'll close the lid and then close the canister. So it's perfectly fine to open the tank, get one straw out, and then you'll be fine with the tank. As long as the tank isn't open for more than a few minutes, it'll be completely fine. So the most common errors with clients that are doing home insemination would be not tracking ovulation prior to purchasing. You're excited, you find the perfect donor, you have normal cycles every month, but they haven't tracked. So the most common thing we see is their first order, we're shipping it to them and they're shipping it back to us because they didn't get the timing right. And that's sometimes normal for people with normal cycles, but it's definitely normal for people with abnormal cycles. And we have no problem shipping it, but it's just more money that's spent going back and forth. So we definitely recommend that you look at all of the material that we send. Make sure you look at your syringe, make sure you inspect the package, make sure everything is correct prior to thawing the specimen and tracking your cycles. That's the most important part of this is tracking your cycles. Um, so someone asked if there's any restrictions when you're ordering or buying donor sperm. Um, so the US doesn't have any restrictions. There's certain states, of course, that have certain criteria. So for instance, the state of New York, they do require you to have a doctor fill out a form saying that it's okay for you to do home insemination. But we have found that that is the only state that that's technically required. So of course we would have that, we would send that to you and you would send it to your doctor and then your doctor would send that to us and then it's on file and then we can ship to your home. But other than the state of New York, we don't really have any other restrictions at this time. Of course, regulations in states can change. And then of course we would abide by whatever that regulation is. So I think this person is asking, should I start home insemination on the first day of ovulation or on the highest day of ovulation, which is roughly around day 6 or 7? So again, this is in regards to tracking. So with ovulation test strips, you're not just going to want to track with your phone or an application on your phone. You're going to want to track with ovulation test strips that you buy at the store. I would not use digital. I would use the ones that you can see the color progression with the control line. That way you can see when you hit your first positive. You'll definitely be able to tell, especially if you've been tracking for a couple of months, when you've hit your first positive. Like you say, it's around day 6 or 7, but you won't know for sure unless you're tracking with ovulation test strips. And then we do have one more question. Is home insemination safe? So of course it is safe. Of course you can go see your doctor if you would like, but all of the media and everything that we use is all FDA regulated, and yes, it is safe. So great question. This is in relation to ordering and reserving. So once we find a donor, are we able to reserve sperm to have another child by the same donor? Absolutely, yes. And we recommend that you do. Just because we cannot guarantee that that same donor is going to be available in the future. So we do recommend that if you're able to, and you're able to do it up front to reserve multiple straws, then you can ship out on a monthly basis from your reservation, and then save the rest. Let's say you get pregnant on the first try. That's wonderful. You're able to save what you have in that reserve for future siblings, and you would just pay a reservation fee either monthly, every year, every 3 months, every 6 months. Really depends on what you choose and what you can afford, but we do have multiple different options of reservation timing available for you. And then let's say you're done with your family, you've had all of the children that you want to have, and you still have straws left on reserve. We will actually buy those back from you at 75% cost. It does go down after 3 years, so I believe 50%. But if it's 2 years or less, it's 75%. And then those straws will either go back to a wait list if we are completely sold out of the donor and other clients are waiting for that donor and they have a child, or they'll go to stock, and we will put those back on the website since they have never left our facility. And the next question is clear blue good for tracking ovulation? So I would not use digital, just because you can't see the line progression with the ovulation tracking. I recommend the strips that I would, it seems like a fun project, but have a piece of paper, put the dates on them when you're actually testing, and put them in order one by one, and you can actually see the line that progresses on the piece of paper. The digital is not going to show you that. They're not going to show you specifically um, when you peak. They're just going to say you're at peak. Next question is, can I recommend a ovulation tracker brand? Um, Not necessarily. We don't have one specifically that we recommend, just the strips. If you would like to use a digital to confirm that you've hit your first positive, you can. But again, we don't recommend the strips because it's just a digital screen. Underneath that digital screen is actually going to be a strip. So we recommend that you just continue to use the strips so you can see the color progression and the control. The next question is in relation to reservation. Can you reserve now for future shipping to your home if you want a specific donor and to not risk them selling out? Yes. This is the same that goes for future siblings. If you wanted to, let's say, give a scenario, you want to purchase 8 specimens and ship them out each month from your reservation, you would just pay shipping every month after that first order because you've already paid for the straws. So, and again, if let's say you've had success and you've had your child and you want to sell the rest of those straws back to us that we have um, on reserve for you, then yes, that's definitely possible. We can do that for you as well. We'll buy them back. As long as they haven't left our facility, we will buy them back from you. That's no problem. The next question is there a recommendation on age limit for home insemination? I'm going to say no. We recommend that you try at least 6 months at home. If you haven't been successful and there's no ovulation or any type of issues and your OB says you're perfectly healthy, then I would recommend trying at home. And if after 6 months to up to a year, if it's still not happening, then maybe you do need to have a doctor intervene. Maybe an IUI or IVF is necessary at that point, but that is up for your doctor to determine. But again, of course, we recommend that you speak with your doctor prior to doing any type of home insemination just to kind of get an overall feel of your fertility health and if it's a good idea for you to do home insemination. There could be multiple different reasons why you might want to go straight to IUI, but it really depends. Everybody's different. Okay, next question. So the question is, so after the child is 18 years old, and they can know the father. So that would be an ID release donor only, not the non-ID release. Can the child also find out if there is brothers and sisters from the other sperm reservations that were not from me? So we don't provide any client information to other clients. So if, let's say you have an ID release donor and your child reaches out to us wanting to know the donor's information, we will provide that information to the child once they turn 18. Other than that, it's up to the child if they're wanting to do something different or find other siblings. There are groups out there and sibling registries, but that's not something that we will provide to other clients, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's a question in relation to financing and payment plans. And if we offer them, we technically do have financing available. We don't have payment plans specifically at Cryos, but we do have financing available. We of course accept progeny. If you have progeny through your employer, we do accept progeny. We also accept carrot cards. So that also is a form of payment that you can use. We do have a few loan companies that we partner with. One is Capex MD, and one is First Family. And you can find all of that information on our website under financing. There should be a tab that says how to. And then under financing, you'll see everything listed there. And then you'll be able to click the link directly to an application if that's what you chose to do. So the next question is regarding the release authorization form for the state of New York. Um, they're asking if once the form is completed, where do we send the form? So the form actually lists specifically where to send it. You would send it to our main inbox or your clinic can fax it over to us. It is preferred that the clinic sends that over to us themselves. So they can either fax it or email it over to us. That information is on the form that they fill out. Okay. Did anybody have any more questions? I'll allow a few moments for a little bit more time for questions. Okay, great. Well, I think that's all that we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining the webinar and listening to my presentation. I had a good time with the questions. And again, of course, we are always here to help you Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please feel free to call us, chat with us. It's a live person. And then you can also send us an email. We're happy to help. Thank you so much for attending, and I wish you all a great evening. Bye-bye.